everyone, I'm Noreen and welcome to my kitchen, and today we have a fantastic fall recipe for you. This is pumpkin pie rice pudding. I kid you not. I had a ton of rice left over in the fridge. I didn't feel like freezing it because it wasn't hot, and when you really should freeze rice hot. So we thought we would use it, but we never ended up using it. So we're gonna make rice pudding out of it. Only this time we're gonna put a twist on it, and we're gonna make it taste like a pumpkin pie, and we're gonna boost it with the nutrition of pumpkin. So let's go see how this all comes together. We're going to go over all of the ingredients, and then we're going to go ahead and put this together. This pumpkin rice pudding happens in stages, but it's super worth it, and it's a great way to use up leftover rice, or if you plan ahead, if you're making rice for a meal, then you can make extra rice for your pudding. Now, I am making a double batch because I have a lot of rice left over, and I don't want to freeze it. I just want to use it up. So we'll be sharing this with some people, and then I'm going to go ahead and write the recipe for half of what I'm using here. So when you see the recipe, it's going to be for a 4 cups of rice version of this recipe, but today I'm using 8. So I have 8 cups of just cooked white rice ready to go. I have 8 cups of whole milk. Is it whole milk? Do you get whole milk or do you get 2% milk?
Sometimes, either or.
Rick picks the milk up because I don't touch it. He usually gets that. So 8 cups of milk. I think it's whole. So either way, but not to fear, 2 cups of heavy cream. So it doesn't really matter. 4 eggs, 2 cups of sugar, 1 15-ounce can or 1 3/4 cups of pumpkin puree, 1 stick of butter, cut in cubes, 2 tablespoons of pumpkin pie spice. This is my homemade version. If you want to know how I made it, I'll leave a link down below, and I'll leave a card here on the screen. You can go check it out. A teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. So, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get this rice in a stock pot. So we're going to add our milk and our heavy cream. I'm going to go ahead and add our sugar. I'm going to go ahead and add the pumpkin in here. Yes, so just go ahead and mix this up. And I almost forgot, we have to add the heavy cream. You can use half and half if you like. Your pudding just isn't going to be as rich. That's all. Alright, so I'm going to head on over to the stove. We're going to bring this to a simmer and let it simmer for a half an hour, at which point we will be back and I will show you what it looks like. Our rice has been simmering and it has thickened. Now you can see the distinct difference in the consistency of the mixture here, and I did want to let you know I only put 1 can of pumpkin in here earlier, and then it occurred to me I was double batching it and I forgot, so I did add another can of pumpkin. So 1 can of pumpkin is for a single batch recipe of this, so that's what you'll see when I write the recipe on the website. So just know that I went ahead and added another can of pumpkin in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to temper. What I have is my 4 eggs in this measuring cup that I beat lightly, and I added the cubed butter, which is now softened a little, and now I'm going to add a ladle of this hot mixture, and I'm going to whisk, 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 and then I'm going to add another one, and again whisk, 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 whisk.
You're gonna cut that out, right?
No, I'm not. And this is tempering the eggs so that they don't scramble once you pour them into this pot. Now, I want to pour the eggs and the butter mixture into the pot. Okay. And now stir, 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 stir. We're going to set this back on the heat for just a few minutes. And you can you can already see how it's thickened up. And this is going to thicken as it cools as well, so don't forget that. I'm going to stick this back on the stove for just 5 minutes just to get everything going, and you make sure all the butter has melted, and that's gonna happen because this is like screaming hot in here, okay? So no worries that the butter isn't gonna melt, because it is. This is like bubble, toil and trouble. It's like a giant vat. Yes. So I'm gonna let this go back on the stove for just a few more minutes, and I'm gonna bring it to a simmer, and then I'm gonna bring it back over here, and we're gonna put the rest of our ingredients in here. We cooked this just a little bit. Honestly, this pudding was hot enough that the eggs were set pretty much as soon as we stirred them in there, but just to be on the safe side, we want to make sure we bring that up to a little bit of a bubble, and then we can take it off the heat. You can see how steamy it is. It's very, very hot. So now we're going to go ahead and do is add our salt and our spices. So just give this a good stir. Make sure that if you've got big pieces of the spice blend, you want to make sure that you stir that in really well. You can get a whisk if you want. I was using a whisk earlier, but you just don't want anybody to get a giant mouthful of like cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and allspice, because that's going to be really unpleasant. And then we're going to add our vanilla extract. Stir it in. It smells amazing. Oh my gosh. Now what we do is we wait. We're going to let this cool down for a little while. You can serve this hot, warm, or cold. I do not recommend serving it hot, simply because it's difficult for people to eat, and nobody wants to have a side dish of pain with their dessert. So we're gonna let this hang out until we're ready to have our dessert, and then I'll come back and I will fix you a beautiful dish of homemade pumpkin pie, rice pudding, and we will serve it on up with some whipped cream, and it's gonna be amazing. So we'll be back in just a bit. Well, there you have it. There is our homemade pumpkin pie rice pudding. I can't tell you how good this smells and how delicious it is, because I'm not gonna lie, I already tasted it. It's really awesome. The only thing it's missing is a little whipped cream. And I have my whipped cream canister here, and we're gonna just go ahead and put a little swirl on top. If you're interested in this, I'll leave a link down below. I did a video on this before. We made some cheesecake in it. It was fantastic. But I'll leave a link down below if you're interested. This is the perfect thing to have in your kitchen with the holidays on the way, because you get to make your own homemade whipped cream. I just put a little heavy cream in here with some homemade vanilla syrup, and easy peasy. So are you ready to taste it?
I have to.
You know the drill. You're doing it for the people, honey.
I'll take one.
Can you take one for the team?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. What do you think?
Wow.
Mmm.
It's like eating a pumpkin pie.
That is so good. That would be good for breakfast, dessert, you name it. I think you need to try this. If you have leftover rice, this is a great idea. If you have planned leftover rice, this is a great idea. This would be an excellent addition to your Thanksgiving or holiday table, and all I can say is it's amazing. I hope you liked this video today, and if you did, I hope you consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my kitchen, welcome. It's always a pleasure to welcome new friends. I hope you will consider hitting the subscribe button. As always, I want to thank you for joining me today, and if you are a tried and true member of the Noreen's Kitchen family, I hope that you will be sure and hit the bell notification button so that you'll always get notifications, because we don't want you to miss out on all the real food for real people, real easy recipes that we present all the time right here on our YouTube channel and straight from our kitchen. I hope you give this pumpkin pie rice pudding a try, and I hope you love it. I mean, I don't know how you can't love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.